Mr. High School Sweetheart, the nice thing about being with your wife since 15 is you get to grow together. We weren't looking for the perfect person. We became the perfect person. Be the right girl. Don't look for the right guy.
Mr. High School Sweetheart, do you ever get bored?
What do you mean?
Do you ever want other
bored?
pussy? Like, do you ever feel like you should have experienced more life?
I don't think that people in the past used to really worry about like different bigger experiences like that because they just grew up together and they experienced life together and matured together. That's why they got married a lot younger. So
Which I understand that, and I also like do agree. I do think now with like social media and like
It
just seeing
completely
everything, I
changes it,
think
yeah.
people can feel FOMO a lot more than, you know what I mean? Like if maybe there wasn't the internet, he'd probably be like, you know, I'm very happy with my wife and the life that I'm living, but you know, seeing Instagram models and OnlyFans girls and
Right,
you know, it's
but-
like, damn, you know, I kind of want some new pussy. Like,
Wait, do
does
you
a man think
men
that?
seeing OnlyFans girls, that would make them want new pussy? Is that...
I mean, I think
I mean,
it
it's
could.
plausible.
I mean, I think, you know, seeing other women and like seeing other people experience new things, it's just like regular FOMO. Like you see your friend on vacation, you're like, shit, like I wish I could be at the beach. Like, I think seeing other people online, yeah, I think it could like create those thoughts.
But do you
Does
think
anyone
that
not
there's
agree?
a kind
Does
of
anyone-
woman who wouldn't even be, or a kind of woman and a kind of man who wouldn't even be on social media to see those things that they're missing out on?
Are they just completely disconnected from the world?
Like for example,
people-
I don't
Like
have,
there's like they just don't even have fucking cable.
I
Like, what
downloaded
is-
Instagram today so that I could talk to these guys to come in here, and I let someone else do my IG because I find it to be extremely burdensome.
I agree.
And like, especially like someone like you, I'm sure you have a ton of followers on Instagram. Like, you got to get a bunch of DMs. It's like distracting. And the worst
Yes.
part, every time you open it, like there's a new notification, right? So
Agree.
it's like, I'm important again. So I don't have it at all. And I know a lot of women that they don't post anything. And if they have one, they just use it basically to like every now and then check in on certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. But I mean, I still think, you know, just with everything going on in the world, I do think, you know, someone who's been with their partner since they were 15, which is
Right.
amazing. Like, I
That's
think that's
amazing.
so great.
That's amazing.
And I salute that because you
That's
don't see that
crazy.
anymore. I have no desire. Haha. seeing
I'll
girls
read
make
this
me
really
realize
quick.
How great I have
Mr.
it. You're right.
I have no desire. Haha,
loyal,
seeing you
stay
girls
married.
makes me realize how great I have it.
Okay.
There you have
Probably
it.
got a good wife. Take care of her.
There you have it. Let's
Bunch
come
of bird
back
brains
to
over
this.
here.
So I think the question that I was asking you was what, and actually before I ask you how, I want to go around the table. Would the women here, would you be okay with that sort of arrangement where you're monogamous to your boyfriend or husband, but he had other women in the picture? Would you be okay with that sort of arrangement? Starting with you, we'll go around the table.
So, that's a good question. Probably, I mean, if I was truly in love with someone and I was like head over heels for this person, completely dedicated to my man, and I knew that he was providing for me, he was taking care of me, you know, not only financially, emotionally, like on every single level. And if he felt, you know, that our sex life wasn't enough and he wanted to see other girls, as long as he was honest with me, then I would probably be okay with that. But he would have to be like 100% honest. Like
Right.
I don't want him like texting girls behind my back, and it would probably be something that we do together. I'd be like, okay, you want to go hook up with a girl? Like, let's do it together.
For the record, I
know?
don't do that. Just for the record, in case anyone's wondering, I don't do that. But it's also
So no
not.
threesomes for you?
No, it's not my thing. But also, it's not for the sex. I think people often assume it's for the sex. It's not for the sex. I don't have like a above average sex drive, or no, it's not for the sex.
What is it for?
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's just get everybody's answers to the question. Go ahead.
No, I don't like it. I don't want my man to hook up with someone else. You know, I just
Okay.
I'd kill.
it's not for me.
I'd kill him.
I personally would never do that. I think it's honestly manipulative, and if a girl is like convinced into it that normally wouldn't, like, I don't know. I just don't agree with it.
Right, if you persuade her into it and she doesn't feel comfortable.
If that's what
I
they're
think that's
looking
meaningful,
for, then
yeah.
that's totally fine. But it's not something I'd ever
I
be
don't
looking
think
for.
many women are looking for that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think if I was extremely in love with someone, this is the one. I probably wouldn't want to share that, but I also understand. I think men are different, have other needs. I think a lot of women who put themselves in that position and allow their man to cheat is because maybe the love isn't
Can you
as
scoot your
genuine.
mic that way, please? Go ahead.
Is maybe because the love isn't as genuine as like it could be. It isn't as strong as it could be. Because I do think a woman truly in love may not want to share that. I'm like, hey, he's providing, he's taking care of me. I mean, he's paying for this, he's doing that. Like, fuck it, whatever. Like, then that'd be fine.
I mean, I love my husband. I value my marriage so much. And I 100% agree with Corey, actually, because if it came to a point where we needed to introduce that into our marriage to fortify our marriage, I would 100% be okay with that. But I would want us to do it together. I wouldn't want him to be texting girls on the side or anything. Sure. But if it came to a point where it was like, honey, I'm bored of you and just, I value our marriage. I'm like, okay, let's go find something for you to take your boredom out of, and you come back home to me and you're faithful to me.
For the record, I'm also not bored, but I understand.
Okay, maybe bored isn't the correct word, but what would be the correct word?
Well, I think truthfully, it's quite difficult for me to really understand and feel what it is to be a woman, even though guys act like they can nowadays. Like, shout out to Bruce. But I'll never really feel and know what it is to be a woman. Like, there are things I observe in the female, and it's just like extraordinary to me. Like, I can wear the best suit in the world, and I walk into a room with a woman in a dress, no one's looking at me. And I'm fine with that. And a woman can feel comfortable with all eyes on her, and she can strut down. Like, and most of the time, all eyes are on you, right? You walk past, people are like, So there's a difference between being a male and a female, and I know there are things and recesses in our mind I will never understand. Similarly, I find that women often have a great level of difficulty understanding male nature and male inclinations. And that's why they struggle with male honesty. And there are some guys who are like sex perverts or have a high sex drive. They just want to, do this, this, and this. But if a man says, hey, I'm an international executive. I run, 5 offices, across 3 different time zones. I manage a bunch of people. I'm good at this. I can get this done. So if there's a janitor, he has one wife. I'm a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. Why would I have the same thing that he has? None of what we have is the same. So why isn't it okay if I have 2 relationships with 2 women I'm both very honest with, very respectful, and I do my best to serve both of these women? I think it's hard for her to comprehend that, but I think good women who are truly love you and are dedicated, as you said, they will allow that to happen when you are the guy for them, though. You can't be a guy.
No, you're
the
be
guy.
The guy.
You're the
and that's
guy.
My husband, that's the guy. I married him for, it's for life.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Let's continue going around the table. What about you?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What about you?
She was waiting to say that.
No, I almost blurted it out, and then I was like, wait, I gotta let them go person by person.
Okay,
I held myself back.
What about you?
I can understand that men can separate having a sexual relationship with a woman compared to a woman having just sexual relationship. To them, they have to be attached to the guy, so then it's a lot more of an attachment for them, whereas men can kind of separate that. They would never marry a woman that they just sleep with, so I understand that, but at the same time, I would not prefer that. I would rather be monogamous and work through it together. Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a Christian. That's not what I would want. And I think I do understand the differences. Men do have a biological drive to spread their seed. But something that I find so attractive about my husband, and I think it's a quality that many women find attractive in men, is discipline. Can this man have the discipline to be monogamous with me and stay faithful under God? So my answer would be no.
Your husband is a rare breed. Shout out to him in a real way. Yeah. Held it until marriage. That man's a legend in my eyes.
So my question for you is, how do you pitch it? What's the pitch?
You really don't pitch it. And I think that's common in business as well. When you have great product, you don't pitch it. Like, for example, if the new iPhone is coming out, people are going to line up for it, right? And so when I teach salespeople or business development people, I teach them to find alignment, which is to say, you're not trying to like, hey, buy this. Oh, you said no. Well, what if this? What if that? No, they said no, that's not the one. You seek alignment. And just as a gentleman said earlier in the super chat, he said that he was looking for a long-term relationship. His lady was looking for a one-night stand. And now they're married this many years later. I think that they engaged each other and there was that alignment and they just couldn't get away from each other. And so I think that's the key, is make sure that as a man, you're really in your strongest position. She observes that when you say something, it's true and it's very reliable, so that she knows when you tell her who you are, tell her what you're going to do, she can take it to the bank and she knows that you're loyal and faithful to her. And she's not going to have to worry about manipulation, you adding 30 different women, you being an unclean person. And so when you have those things, she's going to respect it, because truth be told, you guys have been outside in them streets. There's not a lot of guys that are worthwhile out there. I know for a fact. I filled up 4 passport books. I've seen men around the world, different colors, different languages. Guys are fundamentally the same. Half of them are lazy, a percentage of them are closeted gay, and very few are men of faith and integrity. And so I think when you're a woman who's really seeking that and you find it and you realize time is ticking, you say, hey, I'm going to hold on to this. It's a good deal.
Now, I don't know if you're able to disclose this. How many ladies are you currently involved in? Involved Involved with?
2.
2. Okay. And do they know that you're?
Yes. Yeah. As I said, I'm very honest. They're not, as I said, they're heterosexual women, so it's not like, oh, let's all get together. And I'm heterosexual as well, and I wouldn't submit them to engaging in things like that. And they don't want to like hang out like, hey, sister wives, let's all go to the movies. No, they're 2 heterosexual women who both have separate, respectful relationships.
I see.
Wait, so are they both like your girlfriend or a talking stage or a situationship? What would you describe it as?
I wouldn't describe it too much. I usually stay pretty private, to be honest with you. I'm a very private person.
Okay.
Have you ever had more than 2?
2 what?
Lady friends. Like, have you had 3, 4, 5, or?
Oh, just like a stable? Like, yeah, like when I was a youngster, yeah. I mean, right when you're a young goofball, and get as many as possible, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And is this something you're telling them?
You know what? There's 2 schools of thought, right? And I had a good buddy of mine in university. He actually is now a therapist. He went to Berkeley, did a undergrad and PhD, so he's an actual therapist. And his theory was always, Marquette, you have to lie to them. He was like, lie to them. It's better that way. That's the way. And I remember this when we were in undergrad. I'm like, nah, bro, you just tell them the truth, roll with that. It's easier. They're going to find out at some point anyways. It turned out he was correct. So if you're just playing around in these streets and you're not looking to say, hey, like, you're my wife, let's keep it solid and move this all the way till the day we die, then if you're not doing that, then yeah, you're probably going to need to be dishonest, because here's what happens. If you're dealing with a woman of low morals, right, because you're just playing games, and you tell her, hey, I got you and I got 3 other girls, well, a woman of low morals is like, she's a feminist. So she's like, oh, well, you have someone else you're sleeping with. I'm going to sleep with someone else. Now you have a filthy cocktail of things that you're dealing with. So it's better that unfortunate kind of cocktail.
Cocktail.
Yes.
Okay, so you were saying earlier about, you're a high value man. And
I never said that.
Compared to, just to sum it up, you were talking about you comparing yourself to the janitor. I don't know exactly whatever
like, no
you said.
Disrespect to janitors. I totally respect janitors.
No. But you're just saying, like, why should he have the same thing as you? Like, you're saying, you built whatever business is, he has 1 wife. Why should you have 1 wife? In terms of women. So what about, women who, for lack of a better term, a high value woman, why would it not be okay for her to have multiple partners?
Right. That's a very important question. I agree with you, and we should absolutely ask that question. So let's say you're a multimillionaire, right, and we're dealing with each other, and we both are, thrilled about one another. Do you, I don't recall if I'd asked you before. Did I ask you if you'd ever cheated in a relationship?
You said I did, but I said I didn't.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, I do recall. Yeah, I did accuse you of that. Yeah. Okay, so you've never cheated in a relationship.
No.
Have you ever wanted to cheat in a relationship?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So then you probably wouldn't be a good candidate for that situation. Have you ever wanted to cheat in a relationship?
No.
Never.
Mm-mm.
Have you ever wanted to cheat in a relationship? So these are the ideal candidates, which is this. They get all the freedom that they want. They can do whatever they want, but the key is that they don't want other guys. And so when you find that woman, again, as I was referencing, it's the alignment piece. You see some women, they're like, you cheated, so I cheated. But I'm like, well, if you're not a cheater, you wouldn't have cheated under any circumstance.
Gotcha. So, like, rule number 1, like, what did you say? Like, the right victim. Like, that's like 48 laws of power.
You didn't
say victim, but you said finding the right woman. But that's like rule number 1 of like manipulation, right? Is like you find the right woman who doesn't, want.
You're aligning values. Like, she's a Christian. Like, would you date a Muslim?
No.
It wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Would you date an atheist?
No.
She's aligning, selecting for values. Just like similarly, you said, I think you had said like you'd be with a guy who's more open-minded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't consider me open-minded, right?
You have multiple partners, right? So that's different than.
I like her.
Okay.
No. Okay. So let's just say in a theoretical world, if you didn't consider me open-minded, then you just like, oh, this guy's a. Can I say D-bag? This guy's a D-bag. He's close-minded. I won't deal with him, right? So you just like not go there. Yeah,
So
but here's the funny thing, and people watching probably don't realize it, but in real life, outside of a podcast and outside of debate, all of us on this panel would get along swimmingly. We'd all, in real normal life, we'd get along really well, because I'm not an academic personality. I'm not a debater. I like to have fun. I love to listen. I don't talk very much, which is probably hard to believe. And so we get along really well.
But you like to name call? You like to call women brain dead?
You know what the funny thing is?
And you like to say, "Oh, she's crying."
No, this
she's
is
over
a
there
good
crying.
question.
Yeah, why did you say
This
that?
is a
Like,
really
like,
good
would that make
question.
you
I'm
feel
gonna
good
answer
making
that.
a woman cry?
It's not
like,
about
does that
you being
make
a
you
woman.
feel good?
It's not about being a woman. So number
Can we
one,
move on? Like,
Yeah, that's
are
a good
you
point.
are you
Yeah,
still?
No, I'm just
I
curious.
thought
That's a
we
good point.
like. You sure you want to
yes.
I'm not upset about it. I'm just. I mean, we were just talking about things
Sure.
you talked about before.
Well, do you still want me to answer it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in personal life, I always practice this and always advise this. Never call anyone a name, especially a woman, because they have great memories. And they are emotional, and they will attach emotion to that memory and really never let it go. And the worst thing, if you care about her, you don't want to hurt her permanently. So I almost never, ever, ever, ever call names. As I explained to you earlier, we're on a podcast, and I look at you as a representative of a value set that I despise. And so in as much as that's the case, boom. Now, if I ever saw you in Vegas just like out, you'd probably see me like, oh, dang, that's that D-bag guy. And I'd see you and be like, oh, man, like if we're in a restaurant, hey, send her check over to me. Absolutely. Because I don't see anything wrong with you as an individual, because you and I never date. It's just that the certain ways of living, I think if you spread them, they're ultimately hurtful. And so that's all that is. But I think that, if you weren't totally offended by what I said during the podcast, I think we get along just fine afterward, because I'm a very even person and a very relaxed person. And I think you're also a very loving person. In fact, most of the women I know in the sex industry, which are many, and I'm not only talking about OnlyFans, I'm talking about like the old world sex industry as well. Lovely, pleasant women. They understand men better than traditional women, because you guys experience a variety of men and you have to be able to please them quickly. So yeah, I think we get along just fine.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
All right, we have Dr. Nablis here.
Amazing.
Brian, where did you find this Marquette? Is it Marquette?
Marquette. Yeah.
Marquette character. It's like you shaved Andrew, gave him a spray tan, and wrapped him up in silk. Marquette, can we hang out sometime? I think he's a fan of yours.
All three of us, me, him, you, we're going to hang out.
Okay, there you have it. Thank you,
Vegas.
Dr.
Lunch day,
Nablis.
babe.
The super friends.
On Marquette.
Absolutely.
He's paying. He's picking up the bill. 'Cause he's a
Absolutely.
gentleman. Yeah.
Yeah.